In this model today, we will be talking about shipment analysis. So it's not enough for freight forwarders to just give you track and trace, right? It's not enough to give your customers track and trace. What is even more interesting right now is what can we do with all the data that's been generated from all of this activities that's going on. And this is why SFL Insight, we decided to bake in shipment analysis into the whole product, right? And this is the future, basically, of visibility. That we're not only giving you visibility as to where your shipments are, but we're giving you visibility in the sense of, something deeper, like, for instance, as you can see on the screen, delayed shipment. So what is happening with your data? How can we make sense of that data? What can we do? How can we make that data more visible for your customers so that when they are making decisions about their shipment, you have smarter customers, right? And a smarter customer means far less work for the freight forwarder when you're making those bookings, right? But there's also more benefits that comes from it. So let me give you a good example. Let's say you prepare reports for your customers every month to just show them, okay, this is what our relationship looks like. This is how much you have left. This is how much performance we've put in to making sure that your shipments arrive on time. Now, what's interesting here, you can see, is you can look at and say, okay, on time, delayed, and early. You can look at this shipment and basically figure out, okay, out of, let's say, 700 shipments that we carried out this month, right? We have a 58% performance in terms of delivery of things on time, right? But then what's even better, you can see how 30% of that is also of the entire shipment for that month is early. And the only delay we have is about 12%, right? So that tells you that your performance to your customers is very good, and that builds the level of trust that you need. Let's do something better. Let's say your customer wants to do some internal analysis and say, okay, fine, why is the cost of our shipment going up? And they can come in and say, okay, maybe because we're relying on air shipment, which tends to be much more expensive than, say, ship, sea, or rail or road, for instance. So that will give them a better analysis and say, okay, maybe we want to cut down the cost of our transportation. What can we do now to prepare much better ahead of time? So they can say, okay, fine, maybe if we extend the time, if we look at the timing in which we initiate our shipment order, maybe we can shift it back by 2 weeks or by 3 weeks and then send it by sea instead. And that means that right now they can work on their production and help them kind of work backward into their supply chain or into their manufacturing chain in order for them to utilize or to save cost there, right? They could also do historical analysis and see, okay, shipment mode-wise, which one have we relied on the more? But let's go even further. This is my favorite actually for carrier analysis, right? So think about it this way. Let's say I have a shipment and I am an agricultural manufacturer, right? Or let's say I'm a chemicals manufacturer or I'm a pharmaceutical company, and what I want to send out is time conscious. So I needed to go there to be able to get to the destination on time with as little detention as possible. They can do an analysis of the carrier and say, look, based on this now, Indigo seems to be the one that always delivers on time with less detention and all of that. So what they can do is now when they're booking with you, they'll say, okay, we know that Indigo may be a little pricier than maybe say SpiceJet, but we don't mind because we need the goods to get there on time, and time is the currency here rather than say the money or the cost of it. So what you have is a more dynamic customer that when they engage with your freight forwarding activities, they are smarter in the decisions that they make, right? We can even go a little further, and in the KPI section, you can kind of help them. If they've set KPIs that say, okay, fine, what is the amount for containers that are arriving? How can we measure the KPIs and see how well our shipments are doing? They can come in and see a container arrived at port. They can even break it down and say, okay, fine, what's the time that it takes for it to arrive at port? What is the last leg looking like? What is the container at port? The movement of that. And they can look into all of this and say, okay, fine, maybe this is where we're having bottlenecks, and you can work together to kind of overcome it. Another one I know for freight forwarders specifically is you extend credit to your customers, right? And that's basically the heart of your operations. So think about it this way. You've extended credit to your customer, and your customer now wants to really or maybe is delaying in terms of payment, right? What you can do is have a conversation with them and say, look, anytime you tend to delay in making payments to us, or they can even look at it from their side and say, okay, how can we improve our relationship with you much better in such that we pay faster? So all of these are tools that helps you kind of be more transparent to your customer, and what that does is you build better relationships with them, and they themselves get a better view of your operations. And I feel like that makes your communication far more smoother with them. So this is just a glimpse of what shipment analytics built into a visibility tool can do, and how it can help you deep sell to your customers, how it can improve the quality of the services that you offer to them. Thank you.